What is going on, Bengals fans? Chris Daughtery here with Bengals Breakdown. And coming up on today's video, we're going to be breaking down some injury updates that came in today, and one in particular might be a little bit worrisome. Also, some practice observations from Bengals practice yesterday and today. Before we get into that, though, I want to ask you guys, make sure you are subscribed right here to Bengals Breakdown. We're going to continue to bring you guys as many videos as possible. Our next goal here on the channel is to hit 20,000 subscribers, and if we get there before the Bengals' next preseason game, we're going to be giving away a free raffle entry to that Bengals mini helmet raffle, so do not miss out. Hit that sub button. We are only 237 away. I would love to hit that before the Bengals' next preseason game. All right, the first injury update on today's video. We're going to just kind of rattle through some of these guys really quickly. Jermaine Burton, just wanted to touch on him again because Zach Taylor yesterday said that it was no surprise to the team that Jermaine Burton was not going to be out there. He is working back, just kind of got a little bit banged up during that game last week. The hope for him is that he's going to be back by Friday, and we'll see if he's going to be available for the Bengals' second preseason game. Mike Gesicki was also asked by the media kind of where he sits with his rehab situation. Zach Taylor, again, just saying kind of being patient on that front. You know, same thing with B.J. Hill, also working back. Said that he actually got an opportunity to work through some individual drills, but when it comes to both of those guys, he said they are not worried about them at all. They are professionals, and they really don't have any concern about those guys being ready, at least for the regular season anyways. The one that might be a little bit concerning, and as of filming this video right now, we still don't exactly know what is going on, but Orlando Brown Jr. was not at practice today after being a full participant during yesterday's practice, and considering he missed a little bit of time last year and the Bengals need him along this offensive line, that one might be a little bit concerning. Might be nothing, might be some kind of personal issue that he's having to deal with and just taking today's practice off, but I do think it is of note that he was not out there, and Cody Ford was out there at that left tackle spot today. Myles Murphy also got a little bit banged up during yesterday's practice. Now, he did return to practice yesterday, but then, reports were that, there was a noticeable limp that he came back with, and he was not out there for today's practice. So, overall, probably nothing to be concerned with for most of these guys, but with that history of, the injury that Orlando Brown suffered last year, and with the Bengals needing him out there along this offensive line, it does worry me just a little bit that, he went out yesterday and then he was not back out there today. And I think the biggest concern for this offensive line is not having Orlando Brown out there. I guess they go with, Cody Ford there at that left tackle spot. Technically, on the Bengals' unofficial depth chart, he's actually over there at the right guard spot. But as we'll talk about in a second, Cody Ford has a lot of versatility. Whether you want him to be playing or not, he is a guy that the Bengals have used in a lot of different spots along that offensive line. Orlando Brown last year played 11 games before ending up having that season-ending injury for him. So we will definitely continue to keep you guys monitored on that Orlando Brown situation is what I'll call it right now. Definitely don't want to, raise crazy alarms or anything like that because, like I said, as of filming this video right now, we still don't exactly know why he missed today's practice. So let me know down in the pinned comment of today's video, are you guys concerned about a possible Orlando Brown injury? Let me know what you guys think down at the pinned comment of today's video. Type Y for yes or N for no if you are worried or concerned about a possible Orlando Brown injury. All right, let's kind of go back to that Cody Ford stuff because I do think this is a little bit important to talk about if something were to happen to Orlando Brown or really even the other guys along this offensive line because Cody Ford is a guy that the Bengals have used in a lot of different situations. You see last year, he really took over and played a lot of left tackle there for Orlando Brown last season, but he also played in a bunch of different spots along this offensive line, also got reps at right guard, also got reps at right tackle last year, and even kind of that inline tight end, kind of that sixth offensive lineman there. So there is a little bit of versatility, and I think along your offensive line might be the most important position group to have that position flex. And like I said, whether or not you actually want Cody Ford to be the guy that goes out there in backup situations for, whoever it is that ends up going out if somebody goes out on this offensive line. Last year, he just wasn't very good, unfortunately. 688 snaps last year in 14 games played. We talked about the versatility, but it doesn't really matter how versatile you are when you're just giving up a lot of sacks, giving up a lot of hurries, and, like I'll continue to say, you don't have to really trust the grading situation on Pro Football Focus. What I like to do is just think about the range, not necessarily, it's 49 out of 100 or whatever. Just kind of think about the range. It doesn't really matter if he is a, 55 grade on something or a 49. That's still bad at the end of the day. So you might not necessarily always agree with kind of that grading scale that Pro Football Focus uses, but they are football people. They watch the film, and, when you're giving up, a bunch of sacks and a bunch of hurries and a bunch of pressures, you're not going to grade out very well on that. So, like I said, we'll continue to see what happens with that Orlando Brown Jr., but as of, today anyways, Cody Ford was that guy today at practice, replacing him at that left tackle spot. We'll continue with some practice observations here in just a second, but if you guys need a new Bengals Game Day polo, you can get this one on sale today just by going to chatsports.com/Bengals polo. It is on sale. What's that math there? $32 or something like that on sale for. Was $85, now down to $53. Don't know how long these sales normally last, so get down there. Make sure you guys, if you need a new Bengals polo, get this one today. It's chatsports.com/Bengals polo. I'll put that link down at the pinned comment of today's video, as well as the third paragraph of the description of today's video as well. Let's get into some practice observations from the past 2 days here. Seth McLofflin was able to get some second-team live reps in the past 2 days. And, according to reports, he got about a dozen or so move the ball drill reps for the Bengals in their practice today. And in their first preseason game versus the Eagles, Andrew Raym was actually in there with the second-team offensive line at center. And unfortunately, he wasn't that good when he was playing at that center spot for the second team. Look, Seth McLofflin, he is coming back from a season-ending Achilles injury that he suffered last year with the Ohio State Buckeyes, but he did play well enough to actually win the Remington Award as the best center in college football. So if Seth McLofflin can just stay healthy this season, I would not put it past him to end up climbing up the Bengals offensive line depth chart as that primary backup behind Ted Karras and become one of these top Bengals UDFA options to make the Bengals 53-man roster this year. We'll continue, I think, to see more snaps here from Seth McLofflin as he continues to just kind of work his way back during Bengals training camp. Next up, we did also have a fight at practice today. Maybe it was just a scuffle, not so much of a full, breakout brawl, but it was between Shamar Stewart and Lucas Patrick. They kind of got into it a little bit after Shemar Stewart bumped Joe Burrow a little bit on one of his reps. Now, Ted Karras he was talking to Bengals media, and, he said he does love the energy that Shemar Stewart is coming out with, but you just got to be smarter than that about things. You can't touch Joe Burrow no matter what, whether it's just bumping him or, knocking him to the ground. You just cannot touch your quarterback at all during, practice or training camp, whatever it ends up being. And, there was even a situation earlier in practice where Shamar Stewart actually beat Myles Murphy earlier. And, he beat him on the rep, and Joe Burrow was kind of, just going outside the pocket to the right-hand side. And Stewart got his hands up, didn't touch Joe Burrow at all. But Myles Murphy did take a little bit of an issue with that. They had a little bit of a discussion, but didn't actually end up, turning into a fight or anything like that at that point. It was then after that where, Stewart ended up winning that rep against Lucas Patrick, bumps Joe Burrow, and the boys got a little bit feisty after that. But overall, I do love the intensity that Shamar Stewart is bringing to practice. He didn't do a ton against the Eagles in that first preseason game. I think he's really just getting ramped up, getting ready to go for that second Bengals preseason game. But at the end of the day, you got to be smart. Don't touch Joe Burrow. The next update here is on Samaje Perine. He had a pretty good day at Bengals practice yesterday, which It's kind of funny considering the same day I put a video out saying that, I wouldn't be surprised if Taj Brooks end up passing Samaje Perine on the depth chart at some point this season, not necessarily right now at the beginning of the year. Samaje Perine goes out there the very same day of practice and has a really, really good day. Had a couple of good touchdown catches during yesterday's practice, and just overall, from some of the videos that I saw out there on social media, looked real quick. And looked like he was in really, really good shape right now. So hopefully that can continue throughout the season for the Bengals, because if he does, well, look, you still have Taj Brooks. He's able to get out there and play some special teams for you as well. So he's able to bring value that way as well. Whether or not he's going to be running back 2, 3, 4, whatever it ends up being on this Bengals depth chart, it gives him a chance to just continue to grow and develop as an NFL player. So I want to hear from you guys down inside the comment section. Let me know what you guys think. Who has more carries in 2025? Is it Taj Brooks, type TB, or if you think it's still going to be Samaje Perine there as that Bengals running back 2, type SP down in the comment section. All right, next up, Jordan Battle had a pretty decent day yesterday as well, picking off Joe Burrow, and I think that's a pretty solid sign for the Bengals safety spot. Obviously, right now, Geno Stone is out with that hamstring injury. How long that's going to be, we don't quite know yet right now, but that safety spot in particular is a spot that, Zach Taylor, has talked about. They need some guys to step up in that room. You're going to have Geno Stone. You're going to have Jordan Battle there as your expected starters for that position. And last year, I guess they were okay. Jordan Battle's still young in his career here, but like I said, they are definitely going to need somebody to step up in that spot. And I think with Geno Stone being out as well, that's going to give an opportunity for some of these younger guys to step up as well. Whether that is Tyson Anderson or Jalen Key. I actually thought Jalen Key played okay during that first preseason game. We'll see kind of how that affects some of his snap share going into week 2 here of the preseason. But Dijon Anthony, PJ Jules, those guys really do need to step up because, I was even looking at the comment section the other day. Some of you guys are also worried about that secondary spot as well. In particular at that safety spot. So, that it's a very good sign to see that Jordan Battle went out there and had an interception against Joe Burrow. Guys got a little bit chippy too. You really got to love that competitive energy that they're bringing to the table. He's pointing kind of at Jamar Chase and some of the guys on the offensive coaching staff, kind of talking a little crap to them after that pick 6. So love the energy. We'll see if that continues for the Bengals safety room. All right, next up, Desmond Ritter also got some quarterback 2 reps during today's practice, and it's very noteworthy, I think, because Jake Browning was at practice today. Now, I think this could mean a couple of different things. Either the Bengals are content with Jake Browning as their quarterback 2 and just want to give an opportunity for Desmond Ritter and Peyton Thorne to have more reps during practice this week and get more reps during their second preseason game against the Washington Commanders. Or they weren't very impressed with how Jake Browning played versus Philly, and Desmond Ritter now has an opportunity to battle for that quarterback 2 spot. Ritter started off pretty slow in the Bengals' first preseason game, but did kind of begin to find a stride after connecting on that 42-yard bomb to Jamoy Myers, and they later went on in that drive to end up scoring a touchdown. That's something that Jake Browning wasn't able to do against Philadelphia. So the big question here, is Desmond Ritter getting those QB2 reps right now to battle for that QB2 spot, or do the Bengals just want to give him some more reps during practice this week and be able to go out there, him and Peyton Thorne, to get some more opportunity for the Bengals in their next preseason game? I guess we're just going to have to wait and see and find out.